Hello, night owls. Welcome back to another episode of Adults After Dark, where the night is quiet, the truth gets loud, and grown folks talk about the things we don't always say out loud. No judgments, no filters, just real conversations. Tonight's topic, it's one a lot of people feel, but they won't admit. So, here it is. What do you do when you're no longer interested in your spouse, but you don't believe in divorce? You still love them as a person. You might even care deeply, but that spark, that desire to try, that part of you that used to feel alive when you're with them feels like it's on airplane mode. What do you do? So tonight I brought someone on with me. Her name is Carla, because this conversation is not a solo mission. Okay, so welcome, Carla. Hey, Mimi, thanks for having me. And listen, this topic, we are diving into deep waters tonight, because people will stay in marriages for the kids, for their faith, for stability, for peace, but nobody is talking about what happens to them inside the marriage when their heart checks out. Exactly. And the wild part is nobody teaches us what to do when we're married but lonely, married but uninterested, married but not ready to leave. Some folks listening right now are literally lying next to someone every night and still feel alone. Or worse, girl, they're on Google typing, does it make me a bad person if I don't want my spouse touching me anymore? You know, people out there are searching that quietly in the dark. With the screens dimmed, like, really? Carla girl, tonight we're gonna talk about it, because not believing in divorce doesn't mean you stop having human feelings. So let's break it down. When did this interest fade? Why does it happen? And most importantly, what can you do if you're trying to choose to stay? Like, what do you do? Yes, girl, grab your tea, your wine, or whatever your grown drink is, and don't worry, we're not here to judge your marriage. We're just here to say stuff nobody else will, okay? All right, let's start at the beginning. Not the wedding day, not the honeymoon phase, but the part nobody sees. The slow slide, because most people don't just wake up in the morning like, you know what, I'm done. It's more like a slow fade, right? It's not a thunderstorm. It's a light drizzle over the years. You don't notice it until one day you look around and everything feels water damage. You stop laughing together. You stop asking each other, how was your day? And honestly, you stop caring about the answers. Girl, when that happens, it's pretty much a done deal. Girl, yes, and you tell yourself we're just busy or it's just a phase. But those phases, they turn into normal. It's like normalcy now, and that normalcy turns into distance, and that distance becomes silence. Like, it's like, oh my God, you living with a brick wall. It's no conversation. It's nothing. I mean, literally nothing. That is not a way to be in a marriage. Mimi, it's like at first you miss them when they leave the house. Then one day you realize when they walk out the door, you are just relieved. Like, take your time coming back. I promise you, there is no hurry. You got the peace and the quiet. It feels better than the conversation. Like, why would anybody want to stay in anything like that? I really don't get it, Mimi. Like, that's crazy. And people are out here like that, like seriously, and just don't discuss it. Yes, Carla girl. And when it hits you, you love them, but you're not interested anymore. You're not curious about who they are. You don't look at them and wonder what they're thinking. You don't care about the little details the way you used to. Like I said, I mean, well, like you said, when they walk out the door, it's like, bye, I don't care. Don't come back anytime. Matter of fact, stay out as long as you want to. And I'm like you, Carla. Why would anybody want to be in that situation? And really, what do you do if you're in that situation and you don't believe in divorce? That is kind of crazy, you know? Let's be real, Mimi. Sometimes it's not even one big thing that caused it. It's a pile of small things, a bunch of little things. The way they dismiss your feelings, the route that never changes, the same arguments that go nowhere, or just feeling unseen, untouched, and unappreciated. So excuse me, but like I say, it's a bunch of little things. It's not that big tornado that happens all at one time, or that big hurricane all at one time. It's the little bitty mist of rain, the little drizzles here, the little drizzles there, and all of that stuff adds up to really, really big things. Exactly. Or maybe there's a good person that didn't cheat, then they didn't abuse you, they just stopped trying, and honestly, so did you. And here's the part nobody says out loud: you can love someone and still lose interest in being their partner, because love is a feeling, but interest is energy, and energy fades when it's never fed, right? So for someone listening right now, if you've felt that shift when your relationship went from passion to partnership to roommate with matching last names, you're crazy. You're not broken. You're just waking up to the reality of something that's been there for a while. Like I say, you're not crazy and you're not broken. It's just everything. It came along gradually. And before we even get into fixing it or staying in it, we have to understand it, because pretending it's not happening, that's how people go 10, 15, 20 years feeling numb. So let me ask you this, and listeners, I want y'all to answer in your head as well. When did you first feel the difference? Was it a moment, or did you just slowly stop feeling anything at all? And more importantly, did you say something back then, or did you stay quiet and keep your peace? Okay, Carla. So here's the $1,000,000 question. You've lost interest, but divorce isn't an option. Maybe it's faith, maybe it's the kids, it's family, or just a personal code that you live by. So, what do you do with that? Well, me first, I would breathe, okay? Because now what I'm learning is that we're not alone. The person that's going through this, you're not alone. Even if it feels like everyone's shouting, get out from the sidelines, the thing is, there is a reason that people stay. Belief in commitment, maybe wanting to protect the family unit. It may be financial reasons, or just the sheer logistics of splitting everything. And here's a little truth bomb. Staying doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means deciding to approach the marriage differently. Even if romantic sparks are gone, you pivot, from passion driven to partnership driven. You focus on respect, communication, you share life goals. It's like turning the love you feel into the love you practice. Daily choices. It's not fireworks. And it's hard for a lot of people. They hear practice love and think it's fake or settling, but it's not. It's truly not. It's a conscious choice. And if you actually create a deeper connection than the initial passion ever did. Okay? Here's another thing. You can create space without destroying the marriage. It can be individual therapy, personal hobbies or passion. It could be legal or a managed separation if that's what's needed. Even a healing separation where you stay married but you live apart. That can give both partners breathing room. You can reflect, how did this happen? Where did we go wrong? What happened? It gives you a chance to grow, and then you decide what you actually want without the pressure of the daily friction. Let's be real. Sometimes absence doesn't make the heart grow fonder, and sometimes it doesn't. Either way, you've created a space to see it clearly. So for our listeners, the key takeaway here is staying married doesn't mean staying the same. You can shift the dynamic. You can set boundaries. You can focus on your own growth and still honor your vows. It's about managing your marriage creativity, not ignoring problems, not pretending, but being thoughtful, because rushing to divorce often destroys what might have been repaired or reinvented over time. So it slows the burn, not for the faint of heart, but there's dignity in patience. There's dignity in trying. There's dignity in reshaping your life and your marriage. All right, Mimi. So we've talked about why you might stay, right? Even if the spark has fizzled, but how do you actually rebuild something? Not the fireworks from day one, but how do you get back to the real connection? So here's the thing. First, stop waiting for feelings to magically return. Okay, that's just not gonna happen. Okay, especially if this has been progressing for a long time, that's just not gonna happen. Okay, they just don't appear. You have to create them. Start with the little things. Notice the small things about your spouse. You do appreciate like a laugh, a gesture, or how they handle daily life. And don't underestimate the power of friendship. Okay, some of the strongest marriages are partnerships first and romance second. You can invest in being friends again. Listen without judgment, joke together, share little victories. Also, new shared experiences can do wonders. Like, take a cooking class, try a new hobby together, travel somewhere neither of you have been before. Something that's just about doing life together without the pressure of rekindling passion. It's about creating memories and fun now, not replaying old love stories. And here's a tip. Sometimes being apart for a bit, like personal hobbies, sometimes with friends, make the time together actually feel richer. Okay, and if the physical intimacy has cooled off, don't panic. Start with touch, hand holding, hugging, casual affection. You rebuild comfort before you rebuild desire. Connection is emotional first and then physical second. So, Carla, what about adding communication? I mean, this is huge, Ask questions, share thoughts, even fears, but don't fight. Don't lecture, but to understand each other. Again, you might be surprised what you discover after months or years of silence. It's like getting to know that person all over again, like you all just met. Let's be real. Sometimes therapy is worth it, even if you're doing it solo, right? A professional can help you see patterns. They can help you work on yourself. They can help you navigate this tricky terrain without pushing divorce or forcing false passion. So, in short, start small. Okay, focus on friendship. Create new experiences. Nurture emotional and a physical connection gradually. And if you need help, get it. Don't be afraid to get help. It's a slow work in progress, but for people who don't want divorce, this is the lifeline. You're not chasing lost love. You're reshaping your relationship for the life that you actually want. So again, if you need the professional help, do not be afraid to get it. It is there. Might cost you a little money, but it's there. Okay, Carla, so here's the real talk. Sometimes staying married isn't about fixing the romance the way it was. It's about finding a new way to work without going the divorce route. And there are many ways to do that. One is a legal separation, or what I like to call a managed separation. You stay married on paper, maybe live apart, but it gives space for each other to breathe, and again, like I said, to reflect. I think I like that. It's less pressure, less yelling about who left the cap off the toothpaste. You know, you get the autonomy without a messy legal divorce. And here's a big one. Redefining the marriage itself. Maybe it's no longer romantic in the classic sense, but it can still be a committed partnership. Respect, you can have shared goals, you're raising children, and you're managing life together. All of that counts, okay? All of that counts. So you have to take all of that into consideration. And you might be financially tied together, okay? You may have a business together. You may have a house together with both your names on it, cars with both your name on. You may have debt with both your names on it. And getting divorced is just not an option because, like I said, it can be a whole number of things. So, I mean, think about it. People get stuck thinking it's all or nothing. So either we're in love like we were in the honeymoon phase, or it's over. But reality, life is messy. Relationships are messy. Life is work, and being messy, believe it or not, is work as well. So trying to rekindle your love, your marriage, that's work, and that's a lot of work, and some people are just not willing to do it anymore. So you can make a partnership fulfilling without fireworks every night. You can also negotiate arrangements, maybe separate living spaces, flexible schedules, who's gonna pick up the kids and take the kids to school this day or this week, or take the kids to their activities this day, or, you know, those things matter. Even rules about dating outside the marriage, if that works for your situation. I mean, it's not easy, and it's common, but I think when people think that they're separated, it's okay to date, when technically it's really not, because you are legally still married. So that's still like cheating on your spouse, okay? But, you know, some people may think that it's not common, but it can save your relationship from being toxic. And let's be honest, pride and ego get in the way before anything. You know, people fear judgment, like, what would everyone think if we live apart but stay married? First of all, who cares what other people think? You shouldn't have people in your marriage anyway. You don't want people all up in your business. But if the alternative is consistent misery or divorce that you don't want, again, who cares what people think? Mimi, you you are right. You're 100% correct. Humility, compassion, creativity, that's the playbook. And yes, some couples come back together stronger after years apart. Others stay separate, but connect in a way that works for both of them to have valid outcomes. It's about survival and sanity and honesty and giving yourself the freedom to explore options without burning everything down. I agree that if you are separated, you shouldn't be dated because technically you're still married. Now, if that works for you and your spouse and you all talked about it, suppose I start dating. If that works for you, then it works for you. Maybe that's what will bring you all back together. I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, it's about survival and sanity and honesty and giving yourself freedom, to explore. Yeah. This is like the grown folks version of problem solving with no drama, no ultimatums, just thinking, have creative thinking, taking their time and focusing on what actually works for their life. So again, if they have children, who's going to pick the kids up from school, who's going to take them to school, who's going to take them to their sporting events, and who's going to do the doctor's appointments and all of that. That's, if it works for your relationship, then it is what it is. We can't judge how other people deal with their relationships. Like I say, if it works for them, it works for them. Yeah, Carla, I 100% agree. But what about when one partner is out and the other is in? Let's get real. What happens when one of you is checked out emotionally, mentally, maybe even physically, but the other is still all in? That's a nightmare in itself, right? Oh yeah, big time. That's a big nightmare. How do you get over that, Mimi? Like, it's like trying to dance alone while your partner's already left the floor. You're moving, you're hoping they follow, but they're just not. Here's the kicker. Society loves to tell all or nothing. Either the marriage is perfect or it's over. But in reality, people get stuck in limbo. And in that limbo, the one who's in, quote unquote, who's in, can feel desperate. They think, if I just try harder, fix myself up, change my schedule, maybe take up a yoga class, lose a little weight, maybe that'll bring them back. Meanwhile, the quote out partner is just mentally packing their bags. They're halfway in a car and maybe already Googling apartments. So what's the solution? Stop trying to convince them. Focus on yourself. Strengthen your boundaries. Or maybe work on your own emotional health. Maybe go to therapy, even if your spouse won't. Yeah, that's tough. But listen to this. Remember I said earlier, you don't need to be putting people in your marriage. Those, I understand that you have a best friend that you tell everything to, or a family member that you tell everything to. And if you do, then that's okay. Like I said before, to each his own, but don't rely on friends or family for advice too much. They may mean well, but they'll tell you to give up or fight depending on their own circumstances, their own experiences. You have to navigate that yourself. Even the advice that they give you, it may sound good at the moment, but the ultimate decision is still yours. No matter what they say, even with the therapist, the therapist, they guide you, okay? But the ultimate decision is still yours. And it's lonely sometimes. It can get really lonely, but leaning into your own growth and stability can actually change the dynamic. People notice confidence, and even if your spouse doesn't come back, you're in a better place. It may be just for the good, it may be for the good for the both of you. I've seen cases where one partner stays firm, works on themselves, and the marriage actually do recover. Sometimes stronger than before. It's no guarantee, but sometimes it does work. But the alternative, giving up, is a sure path that's not what you want. It's also about understanding the difference between love fading and love that's been buried. Sometimes the spark is just hidden under resentment or routine or lack of connection. So if the quote in partner can ignite their own sense of life and fulfillment, it can remind the quote out partner what they're missing, or at least bring clarity. Clarity is everything. It's not about forcing someone to stay. It's about creating a space, creating a perspective, and find your own peace of mind. So at the end of the day, the other person still leaves. You can say, I gave him my all. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's grown folk stuff right there. There's no drama, no ultimatum. Just truth, courage, and self-respect. So, Mimi, I kind of want to go back a little bit when you were saying that not to put people in your marriage, right? I wholeheartedly believe that 100%, because if you have a best friend that you talk to, now I don't know about you or other women out here, but me myself, Mimi, I live by the girl code. Okay, so if that's your guy, I know that's your guy. I'm not gonna, entertain your guy, date your guy, or any of that. So when you said, when you mentioned not to put people in your relationship, in your marriage, in your marriage, and now I can say this, and I have seen this happen. When you put people in your relationship. You're giving them power. You're giving them ammunition, whether it's male or female. So if you go to your girlfriend and say, my husband has been doing this, that, and the other, we haven't been intimate in quite a while. It could be a number of things that you go back and tell your girlfriend. She's using this as a weapon. Okay. Now don't get me wrong, you may actually have a really good friend, like a really good friend that lives by the girl code or the bro code. But you do have those that they're schemers. They're snakes. They do things behind your back. So if you tell your girlfriend or your bro, hey, my girl or my husband, my whatever has not been doing this and doing this, that's giving them ammunition to move on. So I'm sorry, that's giving them ammunition to move in, is what I'm trying to say. So in other words, if I tell you, my husband hasn't been doing this and hasn't been doing that, and you probably been one of them girls that's been liking my husband for the longest, you gonna ease your way into my husband's life some kind of way without me, and start talking to him or approaching him in oh my God, what I'm trying to say, in a sexual way. And you thinking to yourself, well, she said that you're not doing this, so I bet she'll do it for me. And that's how it starts. That's how a lot of the cheating starts as well. Like I said, I've seen it happen. So I agree wholeheartedly at what you said about leaving your relationship between you and the person that you're in that relationship in. I agree 100% about that. Yeah, Carla, I know a few people that has happened to as well. Yeah, so keep your business and your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, keep your business to yourself. Unless now, if you really trust that friend, then hopefully they live by the girl code or the bro code. So we're going to talk about reframing the marriage and rekindling the connection. All right, Carla. So let's talk about something that scares people, but it actually save a marriage. Reframing it. Not the doom and gloom, we're broken forever kind, but seeing your marriage in a new light. Like pretending everything is fine while secretly plotting a Netflix of being alone. A Netflix binge alone. Okay. Not exactly, more like shifting from I need romantic loves 24/7 to I want a partnership that works for both of us, even if the spark isn't like it used to be. So we're talking about friendship, respect, shared goals, basically adulting in marriage. Passion comes and goes, but connection, that's something you can build even if your heart is not doing backflips every night. Okay, so what does this actually look like day to day? So you're asking what that actually looks like day to day. Small things, appreciation, gratitude, noticing the little stuff that your spouse does, saying thank you for handling the bills, or I like how you laugh at my stupid jokes. It sounds simple, but it reconnects you, and creating new experiences together is not just sitting on the couch binge watching reality TV shows. Like, try new hobbies, take a class together, go on a mini adventure, something that sparks curiosity or fun without pressure. Even something small like cooking a new recipe together can shake things up. It can put things in the right direction. Okay. And what about intimacy? Because that's usually where people panic. So I would say don't force it. Focus first on emotional closeness. Physical intimacy often follows emotional intimacy. Okay. Simple gestures like, again, touching and hugging and hand holding, it can reignite a connection slowly without any pressure. So does that make sense? So it's less about faking romance and more about choosing love in practical ways. And like I say, don't force it. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen naturally. So you've done all of these things in between to get the juices flowing again. Like I say, it won't happen overnight, but you continue to do what you're doing, and each of you are responding well. It will eventually get there. Now the thing is, once it gets there, you have to keep it there, because you don't want to go back to the old ways that you were, because you had to work extra hard to get back to where you are now, if that makes any sense to you. Yes, that does make sense. Now think of love as a verb. Okay. Not a feeling. It's about showing up, respecting boundaries, nurturing the bond, and creating a life you both want, even if your heart isn't racing every morning like it used to. Your stomach not doing them flips and things like it used to when you first met. And if the other person isn't into it, then what? Well, then focus on what you can control. Your actions, your mindset, your self-growth. Sometimes the change inspires them. Sometimes it's just it keeps you sane while the situation unfolds. So it's about reclaiming yourself, even within the marriage. Being fully present in your life while staying in your commitment. That's grown-up love. And honestly, that alone can make an uninterested partner rethink their choices. It's kind of like dating yourself, but you still live in the same house. Exactly. And you can even make it fun, because if marriage feels like a punishment, nobody wins, But if you approach it in a creative way with respect and humor, it's survivable, maybe even enjoyable again. Hey, Carla, this is a very, very interesting conversation. I hope you guys out there are listening and paying attention. You're not alone. There is somebody out there going through this exact thing right now. Okay, so you guys leave your comments down below. You know, if you know somebody like this, or you've been in this predicament, you know, comment down below. Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's get on to this. So creating alternatives and managed separations. Okay, Carla, let's keep it real for a minute. Not every marriage survives just by talking and being nice. Sometimes you actually do need space. You need to separate and think about, you know, the actions that's happening, the verbiage. How did we get in this space? Think about it and understand it, and then you can come back to your spouse and you all can have a conversation, and have a conversation where you listen to understand but not listen to respond. Okay, so like sometimes you need space again, maybe sleeping in a separate room, because I've done that, and it's called avoiding, MURDER. Wow, Mimi. So you've been going through this as well. So, what have you done about it? Are you guys back on track now, or what have you? But anyway, sleeping in separate rooms, it is actually bigger than that. I mean, managed separation, like taking a step back while staying married, legally or just practically. So, like a trial break, I guess you can put it, but not divorce. You can live apart, handle your own lives, maybe even date a little if that's what you all agree on, because like we've said before, if you are separated and you're dating someone other than your spouse, it's cheating because legally you're still married. But you can still keep your commitments intact. It gives both of you breathing room. And if you guys do decide to date other people while you're separated, I think personally it's a good idea not to tell the person that you're dating your business. Again, that gives the person more ammunition to move in. Okay, so I wouldn't give them a whole bunch of details. That's just, no, don't do that, because like I said, give them ammunition to move in. So now sometimes absence really does make the heart reconsider, or at least calm the heart down. Sometimes absence does what they say, make the heart grow fonder. It sounds risky though. What if one person gets too comfortable out there? You know, if they're dating someone else, what if they get too comfortable, and then your relationship is just pretty much over? So that's where honesty and boundaries come in. You have to set the rules. If you're going to separate, You have to set the rules, okay? And stick to those rules. I know it's going to be hard. We human, we have needs. But stick to those rules, okay? So if something shall happen where either of you decide, well, this is not for me, and you get back together, you don't have any guilt. There's no guilt. So yeah, make sure that you set rules. Check in with your partner every few days, see how they're doing, and have conversations. Don't let the fear or the pride sabotage the progress. Okay, have conversations. The goal isn't to test each other, it's to reflect, and it's to grow, and it's to see if you two can come back together. And if any one person refuse to try this, then focus on yourself, your growth, your self-care, your own emotional health. If you can show up as a stronger, calmer, clearer version of yourself, it might inspire them, or to at least keep you sane. And I know we've said that before. So it's like hitting pause instead of fast forwarding to divorce. Okay. And there are a lot of ways to do it. So again, some couples live in separate apartments. Some just have separate routines under the same roof, but they share different bedrooms. I'm not share different bedrooms, but sleep in different bedrooms. Some even agree on a temporary legal separation. The point is, you create space to breathe without breaking the marriage. Okay. Honestly, Carla, I am going through something similar, but my situation is a little bit different. I think that would actually have to be another episode. Otherwise, this is just going to be extremely long. But we're going to get to my situation at a later time. Okay. But I see the appeal. That it gives both people room to reflect and even maybe miss each other, But here's the thing. If after the break you find your connection isn't coming back, at least you made a thoughtful decision, not a reaction fueled by frustration or pride. It's like strategic patience. And patience in a marriage doesn't get nearly enough credit. If we can give ourselves permission to slow down, take stock and experiment creativity, sometimes what looks like the end turns into a new beginning. And it doesn't have to all be doom and gloom. You can still laugh, have fun, and enjoy life even while working on a complicated marriage. Oh, Mimi, I love that phrase. Would you say it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom? You can still laugh and have fun. I know that's right. So yeah, the Mimi, that's the adults after dark approach. Keeping it real, adults, and maybe a little playful while tackling the serious stuff. That's the grown folks way. That's what we do. So, but what about when divorce becomes necessary in doing it right. So let's be honest, Mimi. Sometimes all the patience, the space, and managed separation in the world isn't enough. Divorce happens, and that's okay. Nobody wants to admit it, but sometimes marriages just run their course. Carla, girl, you are so right. Sometimes marriages do just run their course. But here's the key. How you handle it matters for you, for your spouse, and especially if there's kids involved. Kids really complicates everything. But if you approach divorce with respect and clarity, it's possible to minimize the damage. Co-parenting becomes easier. Emotions, they stay in check, and you don't have to burn bridges unnecessarily. So if there's kids involved, you don't want to be fighting around your kids, because again, you have to co-parent. You don't want to talk bad about your child's mother or father, especially in front of them, because kids are sponges. They soak up everything, and you want what's best for the children at all times. So no sneaky lawyers, no scorched tactics, none of that. So with collaborative divorce is the way you can go, if you can. Okay, you both work with lawyers, so actually want solutions. You work with lawyers who want solutions. You not the drama. Everything gets handled responsibly, which is the child support, the visitations, the finance, but without making it personal. And if one gets personal and isn't willing to play nice, then it's about protecting yourself and staying above the chaos. Even though that person brings the chaos, you don't. Okay, because the judge is going to know all of this in the divorce proceedings. So keep your boundaries firm, get professional support, and focus on your mental and emotional health, because again, you have children. You have to still be there for the children. Even if it ends, you can do it with dignity. Absolutely, Mimi. That's the ultimate goal. You want to do it with dignity, and like I say, you still have children that needs to be tended to. Leaving the marriage in a way that's safe and responsible and mindful to everyone involved. Don't be trying to get no revenge. No drama is not needed. You just want closure. It makes the idea of ending something painful feel less catastrophic. Okay. So again, that's what the tough conversations is real talk, no shame. You can honor yourself, honor the relationship, and still make the choices that are right for you, your spouse, and or children if there's children involved. So whether it's managed separation or divorce, the common thread is self-awareness, honesty, and respect. And remembering that even when love fades or marriage ends, it doesn't mean you failed. It means, again, you've grown, you've learned, and you're choosing a path that fits your life and values. And maybe, just maybe, there's a little humor and grace left in all of it. All right, night owls. That's a wrap for tonight's conversation. I know it was kind of lengthy, but look, relationships aren't simple. They never were, and they never will be. Losing interest in your spouse doesn't mean you failed, and not believing in divorce doesn't make you stubborn. It just means you're looking for another way. So, Carla, is there any last words that you want to say before we get out of here for tonight? Yeah, so I actually agree with what you just said. So think about it like this. There is no one size fit all solution, okay? Sometimes it's leaning into yourself. Sometimes it's leaning into therapy. And sometimes it's just giving each other space to breathe. And hey, a little humor helps too. You've got to laugh at the chaos or it will eat you alive. The truth is, being honest with yourself, that's the first step to figuring out what comes next. Whether that's finding a new kind of connection, redefining your marriage, or just surviving the day with your sanity intact, is all part of the journey. And remember, it's okay to explore your own needs without guilt. We all deserve respect, understanding, and a little bit of joy, even when things get complicated at home. So thanks Mimi for having me, and I hope to come back and do another Adults After Dark conversation with you. This was really fun, and this topic was off the chain. I loved it. Bye guys. Okay, Carla, so yes, we will have you back again. You might be just a regular guest. We have to sit down and talk about that. So, but anyway, guys, take care of yourself, night owls. Keep asking the tough questions. Keep having these grown conversations. And most important, keep living your life on your terms. And we will see you next week on Adults After Dark. Bye, night owls.